everyone and welcome. My name is Edshara and today I'm going to be sharing my April library haul. Now before I do that, I want to give you a very brief end of the month wrap up for the books that I read towards the end of March. I'm not going to go into specifics, but if you want to know a little bit more about my thoughts, you can always check out my reviews over on Goodreads because I do have a tendency to be a little bit more detailed in those. So the first book was The Black Count by Tom Rees. This was supposed to be a biography of sorts about General Alex Dumas. Instead it ended up being a little bit more about the French Revolution, which I don't have a problem with that, but I wanted to learn about General Alex Dumas because we don't know much about him. You know more about his son who wrote The Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers, and he did use some of his father's exploits in those books. But this book was a bit dull. It was dense. It was a bit boring. I ended up, kind of having to fight off sleep just to get through what I did end up reading. But in the end, I did DNF it. It was a big no for me. Then I read Love, Hate, and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. I really enjoyed that one. I gave that one 4 stars. I also read Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is only my second Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but I really, really loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. And then the last book that I read at the end of the month was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was the best thing ever. It meant more to me than I thought it was going to, and I have already purchased my own copy. I got the Barnes & Noble edition, which I'll share in a haul at some point, but I love this one, and I think if the synopsis interests you, you should definitely check this out. Now for the books that I picked up from the library for this month. So, these are all books that I had on hold. So my TBR is basically decided by the library because they all came in at once. So the first one is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. I'm pretty sure I probably butchered that, but I tried. But this one features a Nigerian couple. They are married, and while everyone expects the husband to take more than one wife, he and his wife have decided that polygamy is not for them. However, they end up having trouble conceiving, and so eventually the family brings another woman to the house and they introduce her as the husband's second wife. So now the first wife has to try and get pregnant, and she fights jealousy and all of that. And so this is one that I've heard good things about, I believe, and I'm really interested. I've been waiting for this for a while. I think I put a hold on it back in January, so I'm excited to finally have it. And next up is The Art of the Swap by Kristen Asselin. I think that's how you say that, I'm not sure, and Jen Malone. But this one is about 2 girls. One is in the early 1900s and the other one is in present time, and they end up time traveling, switching places, and they have to try and stop an art heist. And so this was one that I found through the NG Lit Chat over on Twitter. I think it's Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. There, if you find the hashtag or search for the hashtag MG Lit Chat, you can find authors and librarians and teachers and other people all talking about middle grade literature. And so I found author Christine Asselin through that chat, and she mentioned her book, and so I've been waiting for this for a while now, so I'm really excited to read it and I hope I like it. Then I have Tyler Johnson Was Here by J. Coles. I know I mentioned this in last month's library haul. It did come in March, but by the time I picked it up, I didn't want to try and rush it just to get it in March, so I saved it for April. And this one is about a young man named Tyler who ends up going missing, and his brother is on sort of a, I was going to say quest. It's not a quest. But his twin brother is attempting to find him, and he's eventually found, and he was murdered, and then video surfaces that it was a cop who killed him. And so the story is supposed to take off from there. And yes, all of that is in the synopsis. But I'm really interested to read this. It's supposed to be like The Hate You Give and Dear Martin, and I really enjoyed those books. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one as well. And the next book is another one that I've been waiting for since January, and that is We Were 8 Years in Power by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this one features 8 essays, each one revisiting 1 year in the Obama administration. And it's one that I have been wanting to read for so long, and it's always had a long queue at the library, so I already know I can't even renew this, but it's a bit of a chunker. So I'm hoping that I'll get to it this month. The essays, the nonfiction essay books usually take me a little bit longer to read, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this. But I'm really looking forward to it. And then the last 2 books that I have are graphic novels, and the first one is the third book in the I Hate Fairyland series by Scotty Young, and it is called Good Girl. And I think this is the conclusion. I don't think there's more than 3 volumes out of this, or if there's going to be any more out. And if you remember from last month, I read books 1 and 2 in this series, and book 1 I gave 3 stars, book 2 I gave 4 stars, so I'm really eager to finish it and see how it ends. And lastly, we have Afar by Layla Del Duca, Kit Seaton, and edited by Tanika Stotts. And this one takes place in a post-industrial desert wasteland, and it follows 15-year-old Batima, who along with her 13-year-old brother have been temporarily left by their parents as they make a living as salt shepherds. During this time, Batima finds out that she can astral project, and when she does that, she ends up on a planet where she gets a boy hurt, and once she's home, she has to figure out a way to get back to that planet so she can help him. At the same time, her brother gets himself into trouble with a cyborg bodyguard, and so they have to flee kind of that bit of trouble as well. And so this is one that I've seen a few times here on BookTube, so I was interested in giving it a read for myself, so I picked it up from the library, or I requested it from the library actually. But I'm hoping that I really enjoy it, because this is a really pretty book, and I wouldn't mind, you know, having this in my collection. So fingers crossed that I like it. As for my TBR jar, I'm not going to pick anything today. I think I'm going to wait until my mid-month wrap up, just because all of these books are due back pretty early on, and I pick more than one when I do that. And I still have not read Hidden Figures, which was my February TBR jar pick. I do know that my reading mood is changing a little bit, so I'm kind of, you know, starting to get away from nonfiction just for now. There are a lot of other books that I want to read, so I think I'm going to shelve Hidden Figures for right now, and then try to read it again later when I'm excited to read it, because I don't want to read it now and I'm not that interested. So that's it for today. I do appreciate you guys for hanging with me and, you know, listening to me ramble a little bit. If you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe. I would love to hear from you guys as well in the comments. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. But until next time, guys, God bless. Bye. Hurt, and so once and I don't know what's happening to my voice, guys, sorry.